Greetings, possums. Coming to you, we are Offensive Points, and we are brought to you by Offensive Points. That is right. We are completely independent. And welcome to the show. For those of you who are new listeners of Offensive Points, we've been around the block a little bit. We're like a possum with a half-eaten pizza hanging off its back right now. We're just creating glory. We are absolutely building this from the ground up, and we are pleasured to have you here. So please give us a follow. Recommend us to your friends, or don't, because we're going to beat them, but you still should, because we're trying to grow this thing and blow it up. I am OP Joe, and I'm always, as always, I'm here with Billy at Hombre Vendor. You can find him on Twitter, and Josh. You can find him at Josh Hall STL with one H. It's kind of weird, but it works. Josh, Billy, what's up?
You got two E's at your Joe. That's kind of weird if you think about it.
The one with one E was taken, so I just added another one.
Who in the world is OP Joe with one E? Now, okay, never mind.
Dude, he's not doing anything on Twitter too. We looked him up at one point. It was pretty ridiculous. But yeah, no, happy to be here, man. Happy to talk one of our funnest podcasts, and we got 8 of them in a row. So it's gonna be a great time. It's when we learn a lot of stuff about the league, and honestly helps me out, and as well as those listening. So
it is one of our most informative series where we go through players that, and we go through, ADPs potentially. We go through players that you might not be thinking about right now. We kind of touch it all on this podcast, but it is good to have everyone in. We're free and independent, and our phones' batteries are a little bit more charged day by day now than they normally would have been. That's a very inside joke there. Guys, do we want to talk about some news? Do we want to talk about – we could bring back the news thing that we used to do a long time ago. I don't know if we don't have that sounder anymore, but we could do that. We could do whatever we want.
What news do you have for us? Let's hear it.
Do you have some news?
I didn't know you were going to come to me right away.
Well, okay, I got some news.
Didn't have anything pulled up.
Kyle Pitts is apparently on the trade block. Let's go ahead and start that conversation. Kyle Pitts, the first-round draft pick in many formats, all formats, and maybe not redraft, but in Dynasty and in NFL. And here we are on the trade block 4 years later with very little to show for it. Rookie year was actually pretty decent, but after that kind of tailed off and just really hasn't found a role in any of these offenses, and there's been several over the years. What do we make of that? I mean, are they really just don't want to pay the guy, or is it like they want him off the team at this point?
I don't know what to make of it, man. I mean, that they need pass catchers with Penix going into roughly his first games. Actually, he played 3 games last year. He needs weapons. It makes no sense to move this guy right off the bat. And then on top of it, Arthur Smith can just – will you go jump off a bridge and land softly enough to break your arm or something? Because you really are screwing up our teams here. If you bring Kyle Pitts, I'm over here like draft Pat Freiermuth. He's going to be awesome. He's going to be great. This is another good season for Freiermuth. And if we get Kyle Pitts and or Jonnu Smith, there's been talk about either of those guys in this offense with Cordero Patterson. I mean, I don't know what to make of it, man. Arthur Smith's really just trying to screw us over yet again.
I don't know if he's going to get traded there, but honestly, it kind of makes sense for him to get a fresh start somewhere. I'm not going to lie. Is he needed in this offense? Sure. Is he going to be fully recognized in this offense? I don't know. Probably not. But it would be nice to just both sides just wash your hands. This was just not – it just didn't work. And if he gets traded to like the Rams or something, that won't happen. But I'm just saying, like, I'd probably buy back in. I'd be like, you know what? Sean McVay probably could use him in an interesting way. I'd probably listen to that. But, like, if he ends up, I don't know, in a dead zone like Cleveland, it's probably just the best that never was or something. We can go with that.
Still wild.
Yeah. All these like tight ends who aren't the traditional tight ends, he's a wide receiver type tight end, or he's more of a blocking tight end. They're always wrong. You realize that, right? Like, I feel like tight end's such a niche position that anytime anyone talks about how this tight end specializes in XYZ, it usually isn't what it is. Like he ends up either being really good and no one thought he was, or he like Laporta for that matter. Like nobody really thought Laporta could be what he could be his rookie year. And Pitts was supposed to be what Laporta was, and it's just never really came to fruition. And the problem is Pitts hasn't even been injured. I mean, he had the injury his sophomore season, but the last 2 years he has been fully healthy. And to get 600 yards and play every game for being the type of player that he's supposed to be, it's just sad, honestly.
Well, it's crazy because there's usually like one play a game where it's like one catch for like 45 yards. And it's like, damn, like, why can't we be doing this the whole game? And it just never – it never goes back that direction. It feels. It just never works out. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of him. It's a very bizarre situation. It's weird for a tight end. It's, sometimes wide receivers can go this direction, but it's not usually tight ends.
I don't know. It's also crazy that he's 24 going into a contract year, and he's probably going to sign 2 more big contracts by the time he's said and done. So he'll have a good career.
Somebody will believe in him.
Someone's going to pay him. But here's a novel idea. Try him out wide for a couple snaps a game. Just see what happens.
Yeah.
I feel like it can't all be Kyle Pitts' fault, right? Like you said, Billy, he only had 1 target here. And like you said, Joe, like they don't put him in the roles where he could be. Like he wasn't used as a wide receiver, which is what he was drafted to be, a wide receiver tight end. Like, I don't know. It's just I'd like to see something.
They were using Ray McLeod where they should have been using Kyle Pitts last year. I mean, it
feels like that. Well, it's just the Falcons as a whole. I mean, they're just so – I'm not going to say they're mismanaged, but they are definitely like – kind of a wild cardy team of like, okay, I don't know what we're going to get here game to game. And that's just that's not like Bijan, for example, he should be up there with like the Saquon level of usage. And, some games it'll be a Tyler Algier day. And it's like, okay, well, that works.
Whatever.
You don't see the Eagles being like, you know what, today's a Will Shipley day. Let's do that. Not put Saquon out there for, half the game.
Okay, cool. I didn't even think about it. The Eagles could attack and try to go get Pitts. I mean, they got the whole Goddard trying to get rid of Goddard situation. I mean, and then Commanders. I was also going to say the Ravens as well. I mean, they're kind of on the end of Mark Andrews'
Well, they're doing the same thing with Likely, by the way. It's literally the same, almost the same story. Just the draft capital is not the same.
But I mean, at the end of the day, I know
thing.
They were targeting some tight ends, I know, in the draft and stuff. I don't think it worked out for them, but had one slip to them, I think they would have taken him, tried to replace.
Yeah, I mean, the Patriots are in desperate need of pass catchers of any position. So you could bring back the 2 tight end set and go Hunter Henry and Pitts. That'd be kind of fun.
Hopefully this clears up by the time we get to the NFC South.
For sure. All right, there is one more news story I wanted to talk, just because it came out today, and I feel like we should talk about it, even though it is the most clickbait news bullshit that I've ever heard. But did y'all see Saquon's comments today? Where it
about he could retire anytime.
He could just retire at any moment. It could be this year, or it could be next year, it could be 2 years. I think today is the day you need to be going to buy Saquon Barkley from somebody who might read that and might think, hey, what? Like, I have Saquon, and we're gonna ride this out to the end. But like somebody else might be like, okay, maybe today is the time to sell because I'm only going to get him for 1 more year. But you could probably get him for not cheap. Let's not be unrealistic, but somebody sees those comments, they might be thinking about moving him.
Didn't we already do this with Tyreek Hill like a couple years back, where he was like, I'm only going to play like 2 more years or something like that, and everyone sold him in Dynasty, and it was just like, you don't know what's going to happen. Like, and look at him, he's playing in the 4th year since that comment.
I think the person that sold Tyreek may have won that trade just based on him.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day,
he did have the really good 1 year, but then this past year, it's like, okay, maybe I could.
He'll be back this year.
Well, we should hope
he'll be back. I got a news story.
Okay, you've got a news story. All right, I like this roundtable.
The OTAs are the news that comes out of OTAs are absolutely ridiculous. Are we going to crown JJ McCarthy as the next greatest quarterback to ever play football based on OTAs? Because it sure as hell seems like it. I believe in him and O'Connell's system. He's got a hell of a lot of weapons, but I mean, if you read these OTA reports with JJ McCarthy, you would think that this dude is better than Mahomes, Brady, and Marino combined, and it is ridiculous.
It's really rich coming from you when we literally had to hear everyone jerk off Caleb Williams all offseason last year.
What does this have to do with Caleb Williams?
I mean, I hadn't heard anything about JJ McCarthy at the end of the day, but like all offseason last year, it was Caleb Williams is amazing. He's going to be the best thing ever or whatever. It's the same concept. It's a new face at a new team that's a highly coveted pick. And I mean, highly awaited display or, a breakout for him. So I agree.
JJ McCarthy broke OTA passing records of Tom Brady this week. I have no idea what that means, but people are tweeting it.
Passing record. I would love to know who else is on the list of the top OTA passers of all time. I'm sure that list is very, very scary. Oh, I definitely believe that.
This is the time of the year where camp news is just running rampant, and everybody's just looking for a story, and that's their job is to write stuff. And so they see that whatever weird stat, dude. That's my favorite thing about like ESPN. They'll always come out with like, he is the only quarterback to play in 6 straight games and also have a brother that played Little League baseball at the same time. And you're just like, what? But they have to try to make everyone sound impressive. I get it. Like, and at this point, we have no idea what JJ McCarthy is. I feel like him and Penix, as we kind of talked about him earlier, like this, we'll see what happens, man. I'm not putting too much stock in those guys just yet.
Yeah, it's hard to. By the way, I think Sam Howell's a great stash if you're in a super flex, like a deep super flex, because if JJ does not work out, he's in O'Connell's system, and we really like that. But right now,
way they would bench JJ McCarthy this season.
I think they ride out the bad year at the end of the day.
He just missed the whole season with a knee injury, so that's more.
He might not be explosive. He might get injured, I guess, again potentially, but I don't know. As long as he's healthy, I think they're throwing him out there, and he's going to get Sam Bradforded and just thrown around like a rag doll. Probably.
All right, Bryce Young or McCarthy?
Bryce Young. Sorry, my bad. I was kind of like not listening.
I'm on the fence, but I'm leaning more Bryce Young.
Geno
Bryce
Smith
Young's...
and McCarthy.
Who? Sorry.
Geno Smith.
Nah, McCarthy.
Probably McCarthy, depending on if they add another wide receiver or not.
If this was Seattle, Geno Smith, I'd probably go him. But Raiders.
Tua. McCarthy.
I'd love to say Tua. I would love to say Tua, but I can't trust it.
Yeah. Those are just the guys going around him right now. So
I'd probably take Tua.
Really?
Yeah, because they're going to be in shootouts, and not that I don't think Minnesota is going to be the same, but I mean, I don't know. I could see that one.
They did strip that defense.
I just feel like defense in Miami. Tua finished in the top. He one time finished as a top 10 quarterback. I don't know. Tough for me.
It's not a blowout in either direction. I just think coin flip, I'd probably take Tua.
Fair enough.
Okay. Well, we are here tonight to preview the NFC West. That is the Arizona Cardinals, the Rams, the San Francisco 49ers, and the Seattle Seahawks. So we're going to start with the worst team for gambling odds, and it's the Arizona Cardinals. So,
all right.
Joe.
All right.
No, Joe. Right, Joe. Yeah. How about it?
Yeah, the Seahawks were boring. I switched. So the Cardinals have a 4-13 record last year. They 324 yards per game, which was 19th, and then 19.4 points per game, which was 24th. Their defense got wrecked. We're not even going to dive into this defense. So what do? They go out and they get Dalvin Tomlinson, Michael Walker, Akeem Davis-Gaither, and Josh Sweat. Oh, and they brought back Calais Campbell, which is pretty cool. And then they go to the draft and literally did not take an offensive player until the 6th round. So they loaded up with Walter Nolan. They somehow got Will Johnson at 47. I thought he was like a top 15 pick, so hell of a snag by them. And then Jordan Birch, high upside guy. But you get Cody Simon, who, he led the Ohio State defense for the linebacker position for their national title run. So it was a solid draft. They also got Denzel Burke, which I think was a crazy steal. So they just loaded up this defense. The offense is going into its 2nd season under Gannon and Petzig. So really what needs to happen is they need to be more aggressive. They ran the ball a ton on 1st and 2nd down. They were pretty good at 3rd down conversion rates, but kind of middle of the road in explosive plays. Kyler was top 5 in yards from screens and checkdowns, and that made up 17% of his total yards. So I mean, come on, we got to take a shot downfield. And where does that happen? Marvin Harrison, who hit the gym. He looks like a freak of nature now. He added a ton of muscle, which is something that a lot of people are freaking out about. But, I mean, he's still fast. He's still going to get around people. He needs that muscle to play in college. So think of him kind of doing what DeAndre Hopkins does. And if we can get that for Kyler Murray, I think that Marv is set up for an awesome season. He had 116 targets last year. Only 72 of those were deemed catchable, but he still had 8 touchdowns. So we're going to probably see more targets. I would for sure say more yards and probably the same amount of touchdowns. I mean, he could go higher than that. Who knows? But he's absolutely fine. A lot of people are freaking out about Marvin Harrison. He's going as wide receiver 21 in PPR right now. That's kind of a value at the moment. So I would be willing to take a shot at Marv earlier than he is going currently, because I think big things are in store. But then you got Trey McBride there, who had 147 targets. He was your number 1 pass catcher last year, but he only had 2 touchdowns and 1 rushing touchdown randomly. Make that make sense. I don't really know. I think with Marv kind of jumping up, we're going to see Trey McBride's targets dip a little bit, but we have to see his touchdowns come up. I got him at least scoring 8 touchdowns this year. It's got to happen. I mean, I don't understand what the hell happened last year with that many targets. And then at wide receiver 3, you got Michael Wilson. He's the lock. Sorry, wide receiver 2. Michael Wilson's a lock at wide receiver 2. Kyler was hyping him up during OTAs, so I think he still has that spot. I think, they had an undrafted guy, Xavier Weaver. He could be a guy to watch for the wide receiver 3. They also have Zay Jones. They have Greg Dortch. There's just not enough passing on this team for a stable third option. So it's really just Marv and Trey McBride. So the running backs, James Conner, big contract, awesome. Probably going to see his carries come down a little bit this year because they have to get Trey Benson more involved, especially like in between the 20s, because James Conner at his age does not need to be doing everything he did last year. So I think James Conner, you're still going to see a lot of receptions. You're going to see a lot of carries, and you're going to see the red zone work. But I think we see Trey Benson start to work in a little bit more in the middle of the field. So RB19 for Conner, RB47 for Benson. Pretty good values right there. And then really on the defense is where you're going to see the improvement. So they got Josh Sweat, they got Walter Nolan, they got Calais Campbell. This team is actually going to generate some pressure. And Darius Robinson is another guy that must have been working out with Marvin Harrison because he looks jacked as well. We really should see a big increase in the amount of pressure these guys are that they're able to generate. So I think Josh Sweat, 8 sacks he got last year is probably a floor for him. And Darius Robinson, after missing a big chunk of 2024, he's probably a really good buy low right now. I don't think a lot of people are thinking about him. Where it gets tricky is at linebacker. Kaiser White's gone with 137 tackles. Now you have Mac Wilson, Mykal Walker, Akeem Davis-Gaither, and Cody Simon. I think it's just Mac Wilson and Davis-Gaither. I don't really see a way that any of those other guys are going to get you a lot. Cody Simon for the future is a good taxi squad guy, but not trusting him for this year. And then Sean Murphy-Bunting is going to miss the season with a knee injury. Luckily, they got Will Johnson. Budda Baker going into a contract year. He had a monster season last year, so he's probably going to get an extension. And then lastly, Jalen Thompson is going comically low in drafts. He was 2 tackles shy of 100 last year. And I think with more pressure up front, we're going to see him become a steal in IDP drafts this year. So get some Jalen Thompson, offer some trades for him. Guys, what do you think about the Cardinals?
Well, I don't disagree with anything you said, particularly. The biggest thing that worries me is that this offense didn't change any. Sure, they got a couple new linemen, but Marvin Harrison wasn't able to get out in space. They would also just not target him, which was worrisome. He did fine, obviously just not where he was drafted at. But my problem is you didn't bring in any other wide receivers, that notable ones at least. You couldn't have brought in a Tyler Lockett or maybe not Stephon Diggs is the best opportunity to talk about him right now. But just in general, you couldn't have grabbed a veteran or someone who could immediately slot in and be a wide receiver too. I love Michael Wilson to death. Great player. I love Dortch as well as the third, fourth scrappy guy on the field. But I'm worried about this offense. I feel like we're just going to do exactly the same thing as last year. And actually, if anything, Connor might get less at this point because, like you said, Trey Benson might eat into that workload and probably should. I'm really thinking Marvin Harrison's the only one I want on my team, and Trey McBride, of course. But it's like, and then Marvin Harrison, I don't know if I want to go above where he's being drafted, because what if he does do the same thing and gets 900 yards and 7 touchdowns or whatever he had? Like, I'm worried about the offense. Defensive wise, I'm pretty stoked with what they did. A lot of people are saying they overpaid for Sweat, Gaither or Davis Gaither, Tomlinson, all these Calais Campbell, these veterans. I think it was a stellar move. Go get some veterans, beast up that defensive line. The secondary's been decent this whole time. Jalen Thompson, one of the most underrated safeties, I feel like, in the league. Like he's the ugly, scrappy guy that nobody wants on their team. He's on, like, I think every one of my teams, and I'm happy with him every time. But I'm pretty stoked about this defense all around, and that's what they needed to do. But just like one piece on the offense, I don't even care if it was a second tight end at this point. Like, just feels wrong to not do anything offensive weapon wise for this team that struggled last year.
Would have made sense.
I'm agreeing completely there. I'm a little worried. I'm worried about the offense, as I think we all kind of a little bit are. I do see this being a low-scoring offense, unfortunately. I mean, there's just some games that are going to have a pop, but I think overall it's probably going to be lower scoring. I definitely would take Trey McBride at where he's being drafted. I would be cautious with Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, the talent's there, but if they're going to do what they did last year, which they just focused on Marvin Harrison Jr., every defense was like, let's take him away and see what happens. I mean, you're not going to get beat by Michael Wilson and Zay Jones. I would really recommend that I recommend they go get somebody like Amari Cooper who's available. Like, that would make a lot of sense to me. I haven't heard them them attached at all to him. Like, I've only heard like the Raiders and a couple, like some other team, but not the Cardinals, which I feel like could definitely use a guy like that just to kind of make someone else out there that somebody's worried about. I just feel like this offense, it's either going to James Conner, Trey McBride, or Marvin Harrison. There is no other threat really on the team. That is a very concerning way to run an offense when it's that predictable. And although Kyler is the most unpredictable quarterback, you can definitely predict where the targets are going to go, though. That's the issue, I think. So I don't know. I wouldn't take Kyler either. I mean, I like Kyler a lot, and I definitely think he's intriguing, but where he's probably going to get drafted, I would rather wait and get a different quarterback that's probably cheaper and probably going to put up just as many points.
Yeah, he's around like the 7th, 8th quarterback off the board in most drafts I've seen, and I'm kind of like, ugh.
He's going ahead of Nix and Goff. I'd take him over Goff, like, for sure.
Yeah, Nix and Herbert and Caleb, I think, should all vault over him immediately, though.
Yeah, I mean, the quarterback rankings are whack right now this time of year. I don't understand what's up.
I think it'll change.
This is time, but yeah,
it's the mobile access. It's the fact that he can run with his legs, and he does put up some fancy points that way. And that's all fun and games until he either gets hurt or has nothing else going on and can't throw the ball. So
I wish there was a tool that was out there that you could see the percentage of championship rosters that rostered a player for like a specific year. I would love to know how many Kyler Murray championship teams have existed in fantasy football, because I doubt it's a lot. Oh, you have one that you were starting him?
Yeah.
Wow.
Last year, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah, but your team's also ridiculous, though.
Yeah.
It's a dynasty league where,
but percentage wise, it's still probably not that high. Like of teams that are being.
I bet Saquon was the highest last year. I mean, that's pretty obvious, but
probably in redraft, I would say it was probably Saquon and Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels led me to one too. Appreciate that.
Yep, me too.
After diving into this team, though, I mean, you got Kyler coming back 2 years removed from the ACL. You got them going into year 2 of this offense. Marv, honestly, if you watch what he did, his route running really improved the second half of the season. And if you add that bulk to it, I mean, I could see him kind of have a massive second year if they. I mean,
him going for 1,100 yards or 1,200 yards would not shock me in the least. Him, I'm not worried about. It's the team as a whole where it's like.
I agree. I just, for fantasy purposes, if they run the ball on first, they run the ball on second, and then they throw it to Trey McBride for 4 yards on the third. It's the stupidest, boringest offense. And I'm hoping that we start seeing, as they get a little bit more comfortable, some fireworks there. So it could be kind of a sleeper offense this year.
I hope you're right.
I'd love to see it personally. The team's fun. Kyler's fun.
Right. Yes, at the very least, this team is unpredictable, and that is just something we need in football as a whole right now. Just a team that you're going in and you have no idea what's going to happen. That was what made that one year that Kyler was like winning all those games. They were a blast to watch because you really, truly had no clue how he was going to win the game, but he ended up doing it. And it's like, okay, well, sure. Great.
I'd love to see Marvin Harrison take that leap, but I think it definitely comes with someone else on that team. I don't know. I don't even care if it's like a Rondale. I know they had Rondale Moore, so it's a terrible example, but like a Rondale Moore type that's like a wide receiver 2 or 3 on another team that can just slot in. Rashad Bateman would be great. Like just someone who's a sure-handed receiver who can take just a small amount of like, we can't double cover Harrison every time.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see
Mike Williams or Mike Wilson take the
Xavier Weaver can make an impact if they do not get a Cooper, because he looked pretty good for Colorado and undrafted guy, but
something else.
Little possession
dynamic.
dude.
Something.
Yeah.
Don't know what it is.
That's just basically the new Greg Dortch is what I'm hearing.
Right. Yeah, what are the Vegas odds?
Scrappy. All right. Arizona is a 7.5.
Ooh.
Over under.
They do have a really easy schedule, by the way, especially if you're building a playoff team. Arizona is a good thing to get. Get Connor or Marv or Trey.
I'm at the moment that we're sitting right now. I'm under 7 and 10 sounds about right to me for this team.
Yeah, getting that 8th win is going to be tough for them. I think I'm going to go under as well.
I mean, they could sweep Seattle and San Francisco.
Well, they could win all their division games, but if they won't, just because the division, no one ever usually sweeps their whole division. I mean, division games are.
I'm going over. I like this team.
I knew you were headed that direction, Joe.
I love it.
You did just give us the whole team. It was a positive.
You were headed that direction. Okay, well, for the next team, it's technically Seattle, but we'll save that for last since it's a collaborative effort. Josh, San Francisco.
Oh, Rams are favorites.
Over-under, so yeah,
I love that. They probably should be.
San Francisco's next.
Yep, that's perfect. So 49ers, we all saw the epic collapse of what they did last year. Obviously, that was slightly McCaffrey-led, injury-led, but at the end of the day, it was the whole team except for Kittle. 6-11, finished last in the division, first time in 5 years since pre-McCaffrey, and they did not look good at anything. So first things first, their additions and subtractions pretty much just kind of covered each other. So you got losses, Jordan Mason and Elijah Mitchell pretty much makes Garendo the lone heir to the CMC fortune. So definitely stock up on that, or at least it makes it a little bit easier to, if you do draft CMC, to be able to handcuff him simply. And then Deebo Samuel being vacated there, that's going to be a decent amount of targets that opens the door for other offensive opportunities, which I'll get into shortly. And defensively, the team is quite different. So notable losses, Javon Hargrave, Malik Collins, Leonard Floyd on the inside, and Hufanga, Ward, and Greenlaw in the secondary and at the linebacker position. They did replace some of these guys, but at the end of the day, it feels like they didn't do a good enough job. So just looking at that roster, I'm starting in a weird way, just in the defense. They went 4-5. First 5 picks were all defensive. Michael Williams to start, Alfred Collins, Nick Martin, all interested, probably can all be starters. Upton Stout can have a chance to be a slot corner or a corner in general. And then we have CJ West at defensive tackle, which is probably more of a depth guy. And then they did finally get some offensive weapons. Jordan Watkins has a chance to get out there and play potentially right away. And then Jordan James as now the third running back behind, or the second running back behind McCaffrey, but third running back on the team. Additions wise, outside of the draft, it's mostly just depth pieces. There wasn't really anyone that was an immediate start. Trey Brown on the inside, or on the outside cornerback, my apologies. And then no starters on offense are new. So offensive line is fine as per usual. We get into the wide receivers. This is where it gets hairy. So we lost Debo, right? So we have Brandon Ayuk, who we don't know when he's coming back. I mean, he'll come back at some point during the year, but we're looking at a significant amount of time missed here. So we're starting off with Ricky Pearsall, Jawan Jennings, Demarcus Robinson, the aforementioned Jordan Watkins. There's a lot of opportunity here. So all of these guys are cheap or free. Jawan Jennings, I think, is like in the 90s, so you can get him in the 8th round. Ayuk's still kind of in that 7th, 8th round as well, just because of the namesake alone. And then Ricky Pearsall and Jordan Watkins are absolutely free. Demarcus Robinson obviously had a huge year last year with the Rams, so that could be super fun and could kind of fill in those slots. But I feel like this is going to just be weird. So they gave Brock Purdy all this money. Obviously, the targets don't look the same. Still got McCaffrey. George Kittle, just fire him up. He should be drafted. We had a whole segment about this on one of our last pods. Since we're in a new place, let me talk about it again. George Kittle has been and is the man on this team. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey gets his. We all know that. But in the passing game, it's been dwindling back and down and down and down. And especially with this injury, I have a feeling they're going to not want to flood McCaffrey with passing down work. So George Kittle was the wide receiver 1 on this team, even with a healthy Ayuk, in my opinion. Been a top 5 fantasy tight end for the last, 6 years. People just don't give him any respect at all. But go get yourself George Kittle. The Jawan Jennings love, I understand it. It was really fun last year. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know. I don't know if this is the play. I'd rather go take the late risk on Ricky Pearsall or Jordan Watkins or even Ayuk and take the few weeks off for Ayuk if you can. But obviously it all depends on roster build. And then McCaffrey, another person who it's like, what do you do here? My thing is if you're getting McCaffrey discounted in the back of the 2nd round and you can build the team around it, you got a 20-point player every time he touches the field. So I get it. If you want to go for Christian McCaffrey, please do. If you feel so, please don't. If you don't want to, I like to give everyone, a little bit of grace, and they can choose. They can make their own choices. But just here to guide you a bit. I think Kyle Juszczyk is still there, but unfortunately not fantasy relevant. There's no fullback position. So anyway, this defense makes up of Nick Bosa as the only defensive lineman who's been here. Jordan Elliott, Alfred Collins, Michael Williams. That's great on Michael Williams. They did just trade for Bryce Huff as well. 5th round, potential 4th round pick to the Eagles. Eagles dumped a salary. I'd like to see what Huff can bring. I don't know. That was a weird busted year, and the Eagles just chose not to use him. And then, of course, Greenlaw's gone. We got D. Winters and Nick Martin as the other linebackers alongside Fred Warner. Like to think that that's going to have to be D. Winters just from the being on the team for a little while, but Nick Martin could have a role as well. And then corners, good group. Not really trying to start any of them. Diamador Lenore can be played as the slot corner, obviously. And Malik Mustafa, who is the new Hufanga, if you couldn't tell last year. And then Jair Brown are on the safeties, and those are both solid picks that you can get out there. So anything you guys are thinking that I didn't touch on, or, you guys just want to be like, absolutely not?
I did want to mention right off the top, Demarcus Robinson got a DUI, so he might be suspended to start the season. I mean, it would only be like maybe one game, but I'm just felt that it needed to be mentioned, that might be a thing.
Like they need someone else to be out the first few weeks in the wide receiver
room. For real.
Yeah, I don't know. I like Jawan Jennings. I also like Pearsall. The Brandon Ayuk thing, he's still going above both of those guys right now, and you might get him for December. So, I mean, the way I would play Ayuk is try to trade for him if you really want him on your team. I would not draft him because you're burning a 9th round pick on him right now.
Or you could just wait for someone to inevitably drop him.
Yeah, like drop him, trade for him, throw him on your IR. I just think Brandon Ayuk is a wasted pick. I don't think he's going to help you the way he has in the past. Jawan Jennings, I mean, we saw that 40-point game, and then it was like nothing after that. I think he had like a hamstring injury, and then Pearsall came on at the end of the season. But you're right. I have no idea what to really make of this. And then you're hearing out of camp that Jacob Cowing actually looks pretty good too. He was their 4th rounder last year. So, like, I don't know what to make of it at all. Just get Kittle and get CMC. I mean, they vacated 125 targets. Kittle relied on efficiency. He's going to have his highest target total that he's had since 2018. So I love it.
So, fun fact, Purdy actually can be started as well. He was QB 14 last year on a terrible offense. So, I mean, he really did make up for it. Obviously, a lot of that was Juwan Jennings, big games and whatnot. But at the end of the day, like, he can be startable. And even with this weird makeshift ragtag wide receiver room, because it might end up being more of a Jordan Love situation where it's like you don't know which receiver it's going to be, but like at least you know he's going to be throwing the ball. He's going to have to. And they did just pay him a big contract. So I'm not upset about going after Brock Purdy as well, especially as you're either backup quarterback or if you're going the late round and want to double up on someone.
I feel like you'd have to be a backup for me to be comfortable with it, but I see what you're saying.
In Superflex, I had him in the Scott Fish Bowl last year, and he was a great pairing with Jalen Hurts. It was a great time, the two of them. So
that feels about right. Speaking of League Extraordinary Gentlemen, that's literally my QB room. I hate that I keep suggesting this. I feel like they should go get a wide receiver. We already mentioned Amari Cooper. Keenan Allen would make sense, maybe just to stick in here for a little bit of a Ayuk insurance. The thing that this tells me the most is that they're pretty confident Ayuk is going to come back at some point pretty early in the season. We have no word of that at all. But why would you not add a wide receiver to this room if you thought that there's a chance he was going to be out for 9 weeks? Because by then you would be almost done with the season. Like there's no way you'd be in a good shape by then. So I don't know. Either he Lynch is like completely sure that this entire wide receiver room is going to work out, or I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to feel comfortable drafting anybody on this team other than Kittle. I just don't know. I don't know.
I know it's probably not going to be Demarcus Robinson, but like as Joe mentioned, Cowing, Watkins has been getting some good praise out of camp as well. I could see either one of those guys ending the year as their number one wide receiver. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying I'd rather take that risk later and not pull a trigger on Juwan Jennings. But at the end of the day, like we saw what Juwan Jennings can do. So it's not like it's, out of left field, like, he's taking over now. It's like, maybe he will. Maybe he will have a big role. And this would be the year to do it if Ayuk's out for the first, 8-9 games.
My biggest thing is like Purdy's contract basically guarantees him 2 years and not much after that. You got Trent Williams, who's toast after this year. I mean, I can't imagine he's playing too much longer, especially if they lose.
How old is he? Like 38? Something like that?
He's like 37, 38. You got CMC,
unbelievable,
who's getting up there. You have Kittle. I mean, this entire team, they might just be looking at the writing on the wall and say, hey, let's just ride this out and lose a couple seasons, get some good picks, and then we'll jump back into this. But none of their moves that they've made have made any sense as far as we want to win at all.
They have Christian McCaffrey on a very small window at this point. This is them trying. This is them trying to win. It doesn't look like it, but
they're not doing a good job.
They lost a lot of people in free agency that they had to fill holes in. So they did prioritize the defense, which is if this team's going to be good, the defense has to be good. So I will say they did a good job of rebuilding this without spending a shit ton of money. I don't know what they're going to end up paying Bryce Huff because I know his contract was awful, but that felt like a weird trade at the end of the day. But they do have depth. That's the good thing about this team. Like at defense, that is. Wide receiver room is also kind of weirdly has depth. I mean, they got two young guys, Watkins and Coing. They got Robinson and Jennings as their like kind of veterans on the field. Ayuk, who's technically their superstar, and then Ricky Pearsall, who's had a little breakout. So there is 6 guys on this team. 1 just might be missing a lot of games, and 2 we just don't know anything about.
All right,
it's Kittle and CMC.
I have a trivia question for you all to end this one. When Trent Williams was drafted, he was drafted to the Commanders that were the Redskins at the time in 2010. Who was the starting quarterback for that football team?
Rex Grossman.
No.
God, Joe. I just wanted to answer immediately. Maybe I had it.
It wasn't Kaepernick.
This is Commanders 2010.
Oh, Commanders. Gonna say
Commanders 2010. He was drafted to Washington.
Was it RG3?
Was not. It was before that.
I don't know.
All right, Joe, you don't know. It was Donovan McNabb.
Oh,
shit.
damn. Man, I can't believe it was
He
2010.
started his career playing with Donovan McNabb, and he's still playing today. Like
Rex Grossman was the
my
backup,
God.
by the way, and he did
He
play,
was,
so I was
but
correct.
No, they had Santana Moss, Chris Cooley, Fred Davis.
Oh,
who we never
dude,
knew what
Santana
to do
Moss
with.
was fun.
Yeah, and their running back was Ryan Terrain, which I do not remember that name, but I'm sure somebody else out there is probably like, whoa, you don't remember Ryan Terrain? But what a team. What a team. And it's just crazy to think he's still playing in the NFL today, and he started his career playing guarding Donovan McNabb.
The 34-year-old Donovan McNabb at the end of his career.
Feels like that. He hasn't played in so long, but anyway, yeah, there's your
dude. Grossman felt right too. That felt like the right time frame. I nailed it. I was happy to see that.
I think you were 1 year off, so it's not that crazy, but yeah, that did happen. It was wild. All right, the San Francisco 49ers are 9.5 over under.
It's gonna be tough, man. I could see him doing it just because this team actually, it's led well. If everyone can stay healthy outside of the already injured people, I think they could do it. I mean, any team with Christian McCaffrey can go out there and get 10 wins. I mean, they could go right back to form. Isn't there a curse of the loser of the NFC Championship always does bad the next year?
Something like that, yeah.
Not a chance.
I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna go over. Have a little hope for the 49ers.
Okay, Joe?
He said not a chance.
I'm looking at their schedule right now. I know we normally read the schedules.
We do, but
this is a new podcast. We can do whatever we want.
New year, new us, I guess.
You're new. I mean, they have a pretty simple schedule. It's not too bad. So I'm still going under. I don't like this team.
Okay. I'm gonna go over just because I would be more shocked to see 9-8 than I would 10-7. So I'm rolling with the 10-7 and thinking that that's possible. So I'm gonna go over as well. But I understand the under because this thing feels like it's built on a house of cards.
It is.
You just take one piece and the whole thing's gonna fall down.
Pick up sticks, man. That's
what happened last year. I mean, they were pretty much fully healthy outside of Ayuk getting injured, but it was like literally McCaffrey went down and everything fell down.
Yeah, some teams just find a way. Like Tomlin, he always finds a way. All right. Well, next team up is the team I'm covering, which is the Rams. They are actually favored in this division, which feels kind of crazy because it feels like they're still in the middle of a rebuild, and they definitely aren't. So to start off the top here, I kind of comb through some of the ADP data on Underdog right now just to kind of get an idea of where we're at. Kyren Williams is going 33 overall. He's the 12th running back. Feels about right, even though I feel like a lot of people think that that's probably a little overrated. I don't know. Maybe underrated. I don't know. I think that he would be good. Obviously, they ditched Cooper Kupp and picked up Devontae Adams. He's going at wide receiver 19, 32 overall right now. I, again, think that that's about right. I think this team's going to be low-key really good this season, and I'm kind of excited for that. Puka Nacua is the one I want to get to now. He is going 7th overall, 4th wide receiver off the board, and I think he is in for a monster season. I know with Devontae Adams there that it seems like it's probably going to be like a two-man game, like how it is, but I really think that the targets mainly are going to be funneled through Puka Nacua to get down the field, and then when they get to the end zone or get to the red zone, it's going to be a Devontae Adams game. Now, that's not to say that Adams won't be helping them get down the field, but I think if you had to look at the target share here, I think that the lion's share is going to Puka, and then Adams is there as kind of the second banana / whenever Puka Nacua inevitably gets hurt for a couple of plays, because it happens every season the same way. Puka Nacua goes out he limps off the field, and then he ends up coming back in the game. So I do think that those two are going to work perfectly there. Tutu Atwell is the wide receiver 3. I'm not really sure that that's going to matter a whole lot. I don't think that they haven't really used a wide receiver 3 in the past, even though Demarcus Robinson kind of was a guy last season a little bit, but I think that was more due to Cooper Kupp's ineffectiveness rather than them actually trying to use him. The other wide receivers on this team are kind of like a who's who of nobodies. Got Jordan Whittington, who did do some things last season, but I don't think he's going to do anything this season. You got Xavier Smith, who I've never heard of in my entire life. Josh's boy, Britton Covey, but that's more of a punt returner, kick returner guy.
That's not my boy.
Also,
my boy's Quintez Cephas.
Well, let's say also Josh's boy Quintez Cephas is on this team. Literally, it's all the people that Josh has believed in at one point in their life, and then the rest of these guys might not even make the roster. So it's kind of just a who's who of people you don't really want. I think we're mainly focused on the top 2 guys on this team and not really worried about them. Tight ends, we got Tyler Higbee and Terrence Ferguson. It's kind of hard to tell from their ADP which one people believe in more because currently Terrence Ferguson's getting drafted ahead of Tyler Higbee. I don't know if that's because of the rookie bump that people were, we're still weaning ourselves off of everyone freaking out over the rookies. But I think one of those 2 is going to be very effective this season. Which one it's going to be at this point in time, don't know. Probably going to be a training camp battle. So if you have your drafts super early like we're going to do in July, you might not know who it's going to be from this offense. And then running back wise, got Kyron Williams, like I already mentioned, and Blake Corum's basically going for free, so you don't really need to worry about that. If you need to pick him up as a handcuff, it is a strong handcuff. They also added Jarquez Hunter, Joe's sleeper of this running back room. Could make some noise, but I need to see it first because I don't trust Sean McVay as far as I could throw him. As far as this defense goes, there's a lot to like on this defense. I'm actually really excited for this. It's kind of all led by Jared Verse. He is easily one of the top pass rushers that you want to pick up in this. Just seeing him going back with like Aaron Donald and stuff online, and it's just been kind of fun to watch in this offseason. They got Cam Kitchens, Cam Curl as their safety room, which I kind of like. Both of those guys are really good. Quentin Lake showed some things last season. And then Byron Young is a linebacker I think you can trust. I wouldn't say he's one of the top options, but he's definitely a guy if you put him in he's kind of a set and forget kind of guy. Probably not the huge major upside, but there's also a decent floor with him, so I definitely don't mind that at all. Fellas, is there anyone else that you all want to talk about?
Not anyone else. I feel like you pretty much nailed it. You got the team down. My biggest gripe here, I guess, is, and this isn't even because of the Eagles, who should have won the Defensive Rookie of the Year. I don't understand why Jared Verse is so highly coveted. I mean, he's fine. It's an edge rusher that he's viable to start or whatever. But people act like he's the second coming of Christ out here with his 4 sacks in a year. Like, I don't see it. Like, he's fine. It was a very good draft pick. It was a good value pick for them last year. But everyone keeps thinking Jared Verse is this like elite pass rusher. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll eat my words later on during the season. But I don't get the hype there. But that's neither here nor there. No, yeah, you pretty much nailed it. It's Devontae Adams and Puka. I actually kind of like Devontae Adams more than Puka now, just because of ADP alone.
Price-wise, you're right.
Yeah, I'd hate to take Puka in the first and then see Devontae outscore him when I could have had Devontae in the second or third. Like that's the only thing I'm thinking at this moment is I don't know if I'm going to end up with Puka on any rosters, especially with that price tag.
Yeah, it's weird because like with Devontae Adams there, Puka's price tag is just a little bit too much because, I mean, it wouldn't shock me if Adams led them in targets. I do think Puka is going to lead them, but it's almost just too rich for me. And then Devontae Adams is going at a price that I like. Honestly, they could both finish as wide receiver ones, and I would not be surprised in the least bit. Stafford focuses on his guys. He always has. Those are his 2 guys. So, I mean, you figure Kyron's going to run the ball in the red zone. He's probably going to get 15 touchdowns again, and then Puka and Adams are the rest of your offense. So. Yeah,
people even last year, people acted like there was a Devontae Adams dip, and there really wasn't. There was just he's not getting 180 targets anymore. He still ended up with 140. And yeah, they were shitty targets too. Like, it was a bad team last year. Still ended up as wide receiver 11. Like, I think they easily are both wide receiver ones at the end of the day.
And that was Aiden O'Connell and who else throwing him the football last year for half the season? Yeah. It was Rodgers, but
No, that was 2 years ago.
Well, he got traded from the Raiders.
So yeah. Oh, was that 2024? I thought that was 2023. I thought he played a full year with the Jets.
I thought that was just last year.
Either way, yeah, he had terrible quarterbacks in Las Vegas as well, and then he had the aging Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay at the end of that. I mean, and then had him again, which was rough. One thing I didn't realize, and this is just a fun fact, if you guys don't have it pulled up already, How many years do you think Tyler Higbee's been in the league? Like, what would you say off the top of your head?
It's on my sheet, so
Okay.
I know, but
10 years. This is his 10th year.
Damn.
It feels like it's
insane.
been 5. Like
I know.
like he's been fine. You know, I mean, he's been just a viable tight end fill in here and there. But yeah, it was just holy crap. I was like 10 years of Tyler Higbee. It just doesn't feel right.
I know, and he's been kind of like just a guy, but
he's had a couple good years. He had a couple 600,
pop
700s. Yeah.
But
I do like Terrace Ferguson.
Me too. I just don't know what to make of it right now based on rookies. I mean, rookie bumps are crazy, so it's hard to tell.
I feel like even last year it was Parkinson, it was Higbee, it was like whoever. It was never anyone like in particular. Like I never felt like comfortable starting one or another. The great fill-in kind of guys, like, oh, I'll pick up one of these Rams tight ends and hopefully it'll work out. But yeah, maybe Ferguson has a little different shape and takes over the role.
I did forget to mention on defense, if you're a league that has to play a defensive tackle, that Kobe Turner had 8 sacks last season. I don't see why he couldn't get close to that again. It's definitely something to think about. And total points wise, he outscored both Byron Young and Jared Verse. So, I mean, there's that too, if you want to further pile on the Jared Verse case.
And it's not even.
Yeah. They were all top 24 like defensive linemen, so it's not like it's all crazy. Good,
but none of them. I feel like everyone acted like he was like Micah Parsons, and I was just like,
I just feel like he should be better. He did outscore Micah Parsons last season. That's neither here nor there. I do think that there's a chance that Jared Verse has an ascending year coming up here. I do feel like that's going to happen.
Maybe
possible. What do you say? He left like 20 sacks on the table last year or something.
Exactly. I'm sure there's some stat that PFF could back me up that he would. But he basically should have been the defensive lineman 1. I mean, honestly, like the amount of attempts.
Yeah, this defense is interesting to me. I'm curious to see Chris Paul, their rookie linebacker they drafted. I'm pretty interested in to see if he can crack that work role because those linebacker spots.
There's something at linebacker. There's something at linebacker there because they signed Landman who could make some noise. They have Spates there.
But he was kind of bummy at Atlanta the last year or so.
Yeah, so there's something there draft wise. Watch training camps and see how that shakes out.
And another Chris Paul in LA just seems fun. That's why I went ahead and drafted him in a rookie draft.
Nice. I can't believe that. I guess I missed this. That the Commanders just cut Emmanuel Forbes and the Rams snagged him. Yeah,
dude, Forbes
wasn't he their first round pick 2 years ago?
Yeah,
he is not good at football, unfortunately. I do appreciate that they are taking an attempt on him, but yeah, he's not good at football.
He's not good at football. Damn.
Yeah,
I didn't know that happened.
It did, and it sucks for him. But I don't know. Maybe he can resurge in LA. Okay, anyway, the over-under for this football team is 10.5, and I am taking the over.
You want to hear the schedule now that I have it pulled up?
I can see him being a 10-win team.
All right. Houston, Tennessee, Philadelphia, Indianapolis, San Francisco, Baltimore, Jacksonville, New Orleans, San Francisco, Seattle, Tampa Bay, Carolina, Arizona, Detroit, Seattle, Atlanta, Arizona.
It's kind of a tough schedule. But I think this is a good football team. Like I think this is a top 3 seed in the NFC. I really do.
You're talking about a house of cards. We got 3 guys who are the 4 guys, if you count Stafford, like that are like if one went down. Well, to be fair, I guess if Kyron went down, we don't know what's behind him because they won't show their hand. Yeah, well, I mean, they're just not showing their hand there with Corum even. But if Adams or Puka went down, like what actually happens there? You know, like.
See, but this is the one team where I'm like, they would actually just go get someone to fix the problem. They're not like the Cardinals where it's like, well, I guess we'll just see what happens. Like, no, they're actually going to be like, you know what? We're going to trade you 2 first-round picks and we'll get yada yada off of your team to come play for us. Like, I actually think they will go address the issues, whereas other teams would just be like, well, I guess we're just going to roll out Jordan Whittington as the wide receiver too. I don't think they'll do that.
I'm going to go under, but I think they still have 10 wins.
Yeah.
I think a
lot of those teams are pretty ass that they're playing. So
This team makes
Give
the
me the Rams.
playoffs.
Give me over.
This team 100% makes the playoffs, but at the end of the day, like I think they make a run in the playoffs as well. I just don't know how the season shakes out.
That's fair. I think this is a top 3 seed in the NFC right here. I legit think that.
They didn't that seeding rule. They didn't touch that, did they?
I can't remember if they're voting on it.
No, they pulled it. They pulled it. That's right.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, they didn't even vote on it. That's right. I was going because
which is dumb. That should totally happen.
That was a great rule.
It's totally obvious is what is the worst part of it all. It's the obvious thing to do. Okay. Last team on our list, the one team that none of us wants to talk about apparently, is the Seattle Seahawks. I'll start out with the quarterback because it's Sam Darnold. He's rearing his ugly head once again. He's moved on from Minnesota, and now he is going to terrorize the Seattle team. Him, Drew Lock, and Jalen Milroe. They've already had to answer questions of whether Jalen Milroe is going to start for the football team. Love that, by the way, already in June that we have to answer those questions after they just signed Darnold with that insane contract. But listen, you know what you're getting from Darnold. He is not with Minnesota anymore, and we got to take the drunk beer goggles off. It's time. Kirk Cousins did the same thing. Me and Joe, mainly me, had our drunk beer goggles on and said, well, he was this good in Minnesota, so he's going to be this good in Atlanta. It didn't work out that way, other than that one random game against Tampa Bay where he threw for like 600 yards. Other than that, he was pretty ass the whole time he was there and got benched. Sam Darnold could be feeling a similar fate, especially if this thing starts to go sideways. I don't think they're better than San Francisco. I don't think they're better than the Rams, healthy-wise anyway, as long as the health stays there. And I don't know if they're better than the Cardinals. I don't know if I think they might be better than the Cardinals. But anyway, Sam Darnold is not the answer. I would not touch him with a 10-foot pole because it might be Jalen Milroe by week 10.
To that point of the quarterbacks, I love that they went out and got Jalen Milroe with this makeshift whole quarterback, fixing a whole quarterback situation. Because if Sam Darnold does do what he did last year, you're like, okay, well, that was fine. That'll work. And we can get to the playoffs maybe. I mean, they're tough division to get to the playoffs win because I don't think they're winning division. But on the wide receiver side, I actually like their wide receiver room. Now, the depth is a little disturbing. JSN, I'm starting to get worried about because I haven't seen him do it without DK Metcalf on the field, and I don't think anyone's commanding any respect on this team. Cooper Kupp maybe, but that's going to be slot stuff, so it's not going to be MVS running down the field is not terrifying to me. So I'm curious to see what JSN ends up looking like. I'm a little worried about that ADP, which is right around like the third round, like second round, which is tough. 18 overall. I don't know if I'm going to be taking JSN this year at this point, but I will be taking Cooper Kupp. I think everyone hates Cooper Kupp and thinks he's washed at this point, and I don't think that's the case. I mean, I think Cooper Kupp has a chance to – they just kind of stopped throwing to him last year. He was getting those 10 targets a game in the middle of the season, and then all of a sudden it just dropped off a cliff. He's getting 3 targets a game to end the season. Maybe there was a lingering injury there. I obviously don't know what Cooper Kupp is without Matthew Stafford, but at the end of the day, he's a slot receiver who is always open, and I don't think that's going to change here. So Cooper Kupp's going to be the safety valve for Sam Darnold, and I'm loving it. You can get him in the 9th round at the moment. I don't know if that goes up in the long run, but everyone forgets that 31 and 32, back to Devontae Adams, like Cooper Kupp's 31, Devontae Adams 32. People act like they're done. Like these are some of the best receivers in football, Triple Crown athletes. Like Cooper Kupp's not done, man. Maybe he's had some injuries. Maybe he's, not what he used to be, but he could be a 1,000-yard receiver easily. Had a few bad seasons, down seasons after the Triple Crown for sure, but that team's also had some down seasons. So,
oh, absolutely. I mean, with the wide receiver, I mean, they vacated 191 targets last year. JSN got 131. I mean, we'll assume that Valdez-Scantling gets like 50 of those.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, there's plenty of room for Cooper Kupp here, and if we could see even more for JSN, then that would be awesome. The problem is Sam Darnold's going to fall flat on his face and turn back into the pumpkin, as Billy always says. it's really sketchy because you could see JSN getting 170 targets in this offense. Are they going to throw it that much with these running backs that they have? Is Sam Darnold going to be able to give it to them? I mean, seriously, that's my problem with this team right now because JSN could be an absolute league winner with where he's going. So could Cooper Kupp. It's just, is it all going to work out?
Killer too.
Yeah, it could be absolutely insane.
That's why I like the Cooper Kupp take because like 9th round, man, that's a flyer. You're getting a veteran with even if he does what he did, wide receiver 3. Like I'll take a wide receiver 3 in the 9th round. Like
yeah. No, there's plenty there. It's just, is it going to happen? I don't know. They still have to throw the ball, even if Sam Darnold sucks. So that's the only argument there. And then for the running backs, you got Kenneth Walker, you got Zach Charbonnet, and that is it. Now, the interesting thing is they were kind of trending towards a 50-50 split last year for a lot of the season. It was like 55-45 in favor of Kenneth Walker. And then after his injury, we saw Zach Charbonnet come in and essentially do better than Kenneth Walker was doing. So I like Kenneth Walker a lot this year. I'm worried, though, that this just turns into a full split and it gets even muddier than it was last year, especially with the fact that if Sam Darnold does struggle, they're really going to have to lean on this run game. So I don't know. I think with Geno there, he was one of the most accurate deep ball passers in the league, so it opened a lot up for these guys. I don't know about Sam Darnold, so I'm kind of out on this whole offense as a whole.
I'm in to buy Charbonnet because if you are right and they have to lean on the ground game, I'm down to take Charbonnet, take the late flyer. Maybe he ends up being the lead back. Maybe he just ends up getting a split workload to where they have to run so much they're getting 36 carries a game. He's getting 16 of them.
Yeah. No, Charbonnet makes a lot of sense, especially Kenneth Walker's a free agent at the end of the year. Who knows if they resign him at this point? So they could just kind of flip the script to Charbonnet. So,
yeah, Ken Walker's price tag's a little high for me, going above Joe Mixon right now, and I'm like, I'd just take.
I'd take Mixon all day.
Yeah, I mean that is kind of the end of the wide. That is the running back dead zone, right when Kenneth Walker. That's the Mixon. What was our line? The Mixon Mason line.
Who was it?
It was Mixon and someone.
Carson.
Carson.
Mixon. You're right.
Chris Carson.
As we're talking about the Seattle running backs.
Name we haven't heard in a while.
And then sorry, go ahead, Bill.
No, I was just gonna say I don't know what to do with this running back room. I don't know if I've ever drafted Kenneth Walker, and I don't think I'm gonna start. Just to be honest with you.
I had him last year, but I also got Charbonnet whenever he went down, so it was like fine. But at the end of the day, like if I do think this is going to be more of a split, and it kind of was at the end of the season where like they were getting 13 points a game a piece, which is great, but it's like you're drafting this guy as your 25-30 guy, so you want to get some points on your roster. Joe, you want to go through the defense?
Yeah, we need to go through the defense here. Leonard Williams, always going to be a strong start. He actually got some help on the other side with DeMarcus Lawrence. Jaron Reed at defensive end is fine. I love the DeMarcus Lawrence signing. If he still has some stuff left in the tank, and I think with the help that he has on this line, I think he could have a decent season. Byron Murphy is just going to stuff the middle of the run, as he always does. And then they brought back Ernest Jones and Trice Knight. So Ernest Jones right back up into your top linebackers. He's going to get a ton of tackles. Trice Knight filled in pretty good last year when he was injured for a couple games and filled in nicely as kind of a supplemental linebacker. And then at safety, I mean, Julian Love killed it last year, and so did Kobe Bryant. I mean, they have two really strong safeties. It's really going to be interesting to see if Amanawari kind of whittles some room into this rotation here. I don't know if he does. I think it's more of a future, keep him on the taxi squad type thing. But Julian Love, Kobe Bryant, always going to be really good. And they're starting to actually get the recognition in drafts that they deserve, but still not quite what they need to. So
I was sad to see Amanawari go here because I was excited about him getting an immediate start, and now he's either kicking one of two good safeties to the curb or just not getting the play that he deserves. So it's great for the future for Seattle. I think that could be, a new Legion of Boom type situation.
Yeah. Well, they had no depth underneath him too. So
That's fair.
It's a good move by them, but I don't know. I like DeMarcus Lawrence.
He's
A
washed.
lot. Sure. No.
I wish he wasn't, but he is.
This
I don't know.
rotation's real deep, though. I think he could be fresh enough.
It's been years, man, since he's been good. I do like DeMarcus Lawrence. I think he's scary. Gives a little boost to that defense, regardless of if he gets sacks or not. And also just being able to get in the backfield and, make the quarterback make bad decisions. But I don't think he's going to be getting a lot of stats at the end of the day.
Probably right about that. The over-under for the Seattle Seahawks is 7.5.
God, that's so much.
So many wins that they have to get. Just because you guys are going over on like all of these except for Arizona, I'm gonna have to just go under just out of sheer like the math don't math. This team's not gonna be the best division of football.
It's pretty rough. This
will probably be the worst team in this division. Could be better than Arizona.
I just don't think a Sam Darnold-led team is going to do anything. I couldn't believe it last year, and Kevin O'Connell forced it down our throat. I don't think it's not going to happen this year.
I like this team. I like JSN. Cooper Kupp's obviously a new addition, but I like Walker and Charbonnet. Like, you bring in Sam.
Well, then
Darnold
have them deal with. They just need to be drafting a quarterback next season. Then there's gonna be a couple available.
I would have loved to see Jalen Milroe learn behind.
Well, let's see what Jalen Milroe does first, and then. But I think could be in a position to draft a quarterback.
I think you're right. Week 10 or so, Jalen Milroe might come in and make some noise, and these guys might just be fancy relevant again. So don't dump your Cooper Kupp shares because Darnold's not hitting them, especially if you can hold on to him to week 10. And he's, once again, you draft him as your 4th, 5th wide receiver. So hopefully you have the stock to be able to hopefully hit on some other picks.
Sure. Are you over or under, Joe? I didn't never write it down.
No, under 100%.
Okay.
Well, they
did bail on Seattle before we even started this podcast. So
that is true. Yeah. He did initially choose Seattle and then said, "To hell with this. I'm not doing it." And good call, Joe. All right. I actually want to do something that we have never done before, but we're getting gambling in Missouri in October. So I want to do a little over-under for the top wide receiver of each team. We're going to go over-under their receiving yards for the season. So we'll start with San Francisco. They don't have one because they don't have Ayuk up and they don't have Juwan Jennings up. So we're not going to do wide receiver. We're just going to do Kittle. So over under 900.5 yards for George Kittle.
Over.
That's a great line. Vegas makes the lines for a reason. But I'm going to go ahead and go over two back-to-back 1,000-yard receiving yard seasons.
I think I'm over too. All right. Well, we all agreed on that one. For the Rams, I just went with Devontae Adams. We'll leave Puka alone. It's 950.5.
Oh yeah, smash the over.
Over.
It's actually plus money to go over, but I also agree. I think it's going to be over.
Wow, 950. Yeah, I guess
it's plus 100 for go 950. So I actually probably going to go put that one in. All right, for the Cardinals, Marvin Harrison Jr. 925.5.
God, I hope so.
I don't. If he's not over, I don't want to know what happened to Kyler Murray because it happened early in the season and devastating because there's no way he's getting under 925. No way.
I have to imagine it's over, but honestly, I'm not making that bet.
You're probably right. Well, you also don't want to bet on your own players, so
it's just more so I don't want that. I wouldn't want to bet on someone who isn't proven. And at this day, I think everyone assumed he was proven because of his name, alone and what he did in college. And last year was awful. I mean, wide receiver 30 to being the first wide receiver off the board. It's tough.
All right. And for Seattle, I picked the fun one, not JSN. I picked Cooper Kupp, 775.5.
The only problem is
what he had last year in 12 games with the Rams.
Yeah, I was gonna say the problem is his injuries. If he can stay healthy all season,
do you believe in Darnold? That is the ultimate question.
I think Cooper Kupp could get 770 with Drew Lock, dude. I don't think that's a problem.
Okay. I hate
He says stay healthy.
the fact that we almost all went over on all of these is exactly how Vegas ends up with all of their money. But
Well, it's a long season. It's like if these guys missed
It
4
is.
games or half the season.
It's true. Literally, I mean, when I go into betting like long futures like this, if I'm betting under, it's because I think there's an injury happening. Which, for Anthony Richardson, for example, his rookie season, I went under on everything. He was gone by week 8. I just knew there was no way he was going to hold up. So like it was like I knew that was going to happen.
You cursed him. Oh, actually,
sometimes you could just see what happens. Like you can just see what's coming.
Speaking of cursing, so if anyone is new here, Billy curses a team each year by choosing his fandom because he chose the Eagles in 2023. He chose he didn't choose the Bucks. Who did you choose before? The Houston Texans. CJ Stroud sophomore year. And then last year, did you choose a team?
It was the Texans last year.
Was it the Texans last year?
It was on Houston last year.
So there's another team.
Year before that, I think it was the Panthers. Whenever Baker was on the
Keep pounding.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Keep pounding.
So who is it time to pick your team now that we're doing team previews?
I guess so. You maybe give me one more week. I don't know.
All right, we'll let Billy choose the
because the two that I want to pick, I don't want anything bad to happen, so we're not going to pick those.
It's not about that. You're not supposed to have free will here. You're supposed.
It doesn't matter what happened. Josh, doesn't matter who I could pick the Chiefs, and the disaster is going to come upon them,
or the Packers for Joe's sake.
Please, I've been begging you for 5 years, Billy, to cheer for the Packers.
I can't do it, Joe. If they don't stop with the stupid wide receivers, I can't. I can't do it. I can't even fake it.
I do have a request. Please don't pick the Lions. They don't need another curse, man. Like they're cursed enough.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. I know for a fact it's not going to be the Bucks or the Eagles. So just scratch those off.
Good.
We've already done the Eagles thing, and the one year I picked them, and nothing. I don't think they won anything major, but I think as soon as I got off is when they won a Super Bowl or went to the Super Bowl. So I'm pretty sure that's exactly what happened after that.
But, they had the epic breakdown the last 4 games of the season, and then just like went into the playoffs. Like we don't want to be.
Pretty sure that was the season that I was on the Eagles. So yeah, definitely need to choose wisely here. I don't know. We'll figure it out though pretty soon. All right, that's it for the NFC West preview. Just judging based on who we're talking about, it seems like we think the Rams will probably be the best team. And it seems like Seattle's definitely going to be the worst. I don't know what to make of that, but based on our choosing, it's what we seem like. Next week, we're going to be doing the NFC South, so we better figure some things out quick because Atlanta, we're looking dead at you for making this a little bit easier so we can preview the teams. But okay, hey, fellas, first show being independent. How do you all feel?
Feels good.
Feels
man.
pretty
feel
good.
like I can stretch my legs, stretch my wings out. Really fly.
Yeah. Little man was just having difficulties going down to go to sleep too before this, and I didn't feel any stress or pressure because I was like, it's just Billy and Joe waiting, man. I'm not going to get yelled at for this.
Yeah.
We're going to start yelling.
Oh, we'll get there. All right, Possums. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Joe, get us out of here.
Good night.